I still remember the exact moment the auditorium went dead silent after my sister's words echoed through the microphone. "This is no place for a black loser like him." She was pointing straight at me, her finger trembling with what looked like pure contempt, her graduation gown swaying as she stood on that stage in front of hundreds, family, friends, professors, everyone dressed in their Sunday best for the big day at the University of Michigan's commencement ceremony. My name is Preston Whitaker, and that day in May was supposed to be about celebration, not humiliation. I'm the older brother, the one who'd been grinding away for years while Victoria chased her dreams. At 35, I was still building my life, piece by piece after a rough start. Growing up in Detroit, in a neighborhood where gunshots were more common than college acceptance letters, our parents had sacrificed everything for us. Father worked double shifts at the auto plant until his back gave out, and Mother cleaned offices downtown, coming home with aching feet but always a smile, telling us education was our ticket out. Victoria was the golden child from the start. Straight A's, cheerleading captain at our high school, scholarships pouring in. She got into UM on a full ride for pre-med, while I took a different path. Community college first, working nights at a warehouse to pay for it, then transferring to online courses because life kept throwing curveballs. A bad breakup, helping Mother after Father's heart attack, it all delayed things, but I never stopped. By that spring, I'd finally finished my degree in computer engineering, quietly, without fanfare. No one in the family knew except Mother, who'd promised to keep it secret until I was ready to share. I attended Victoria's graduation because family shows up, right? That's what Mother always said. We piled into the old minivan, Mother, Aunt Beatrice, Uncle Theodore, and a couple cousins, and drove the hour from Detroit to Ann Arbor. The campus was buzzing. Green lawns packed with proud parents snapping photos, the air thick with the smell of fresh-cut grass and barbecue from tailgates. I wore my one good suit, a navy blue one I'd bought for job interviews, feeling out of place among all these accomplished folks, but proud to be there for my little sister. We found seats in the middle section, the kind where you have to crane your neck to see the stage. The ceremony dragged on, speeches about perseverance and the future, names called one by one. When Victoria's turn came, she strutted across that platform like she owned it, her cap tassel swinging, diploma in hand. The crowd cheered extra loud because she'd been announced as summa cum laude, top of her class, already accepted into Johns Hopkins for medical school. Mother was beaming, tears in her eyes, clutching my arm. "That's my baby," she whispered. Then came the student speaker slot. She'd earned it, apparently, some honor for her volunteer work and leadership. She stepped up to the podium, adjusted the mic, and started her speech about overcoming adversity, about how family support had carried her through tough times. It was inspiring, really. She talked about our upbringing, the challenges of being from a working-class black family in the city, how she'd risen above it all. The audience was eating it up, nodding along. But then her tone shifted. She paused, scanned the crowd, and her eyes locked on me. I felt a chill, like something was wrong. "And speaking of rising above," she said, her voice amplifying through the speakers, "it's important to recognize those who hold you back, those who make excuses instead of efforts." The crowd murmured, confused. She pointed directly at me, no mistake. "Like my brother over there. This is no place for a black loser like him. He's had every opportunity I had, but he chose to waste his life, dropping out, dead-end jobs, always needing handouts. Don't be like that. Be better." Gasps rippled through the auditorium. Heads turned. Phones came out. I felt every eye on me burning. My face heated up, a mix of shock and rage boiling inside. Mother grabbed my hand, squeezing tight, whispering, "Preston, no." But I just sat there, frozen. How could she? In front of everyone? We'd had our arguments growing up. She'd always been competitive, resentful that I got more of Mother's attention when Father was sick, jealous that I was the smart one before she surpassed me academically. But this? Public shaming on her big day? The rest of the ceremony blurred. Victoria finished her speech to awkward applause, sat down like nothing happened. When it ended, family rushed to the stage for photos, but I hung back. Aunt Beatrice tried to hug me, saying, "She's just stressed, darling." But Uncle Theodore shook his head, muttering about ungratefulness. Mother was devastated, tears streaming as she confronted Victoria off to the side. I could hear snippets. "How could you embarrass your brother like that? He's always been there for you." Victoria rolled her eyes. "Mother, it's true. Preston is a failure. He embarrasses us. Look at him, 35 and still nothing to show. I don't want people associating me with that." I walked away before I said something I'd regret. Drove home alone, the radio off, replaying her words. Black loser. She'd weaponized race, our shared struggle, to elevate herself and crush me. It hurt deeper than anything. That night, in my small apartment overlooking the Detroit River, I stared at the ceiling. Anger turned to something colder. Resolve. She wanted to play public humiliation. Fine. But I'd make sure the truth came out, in a way she'd never see coming. The weeks that followed were tough. Family group chats blew up, cousins taking sides, mother pleading for peace. Victoria posted on social media about her inspirational speech, cropping out the controversial part, garnering thousands of likes from her pre-med circle. "Overcoming family obstacles to success," her caption read. Comments poured in. "So brave, inspiring." She was building a brand, the resilient Black woman doctor-to-be. But I knew things she didn't think I did. Back when we were teens, Victoria had her own struggles. She partied hard in undergrad, frat parties, drinking, even a DUI that father hushed up by paying for a lawyer. She cheated on exams once, copying from a friend. I covered for her when mother almost found out. And the big one, her volunteer work that got her all those honors, a lot of it was exaggerated. She headed a charity drive for underserved kids in Detroit, raised money for scholarships, but I'd helped organize it initially, before she pushed me out. Worse, I discovered through a mutual friend who emailed me screenshots that she'd misused funds. Not outright stealing, but padding expenses, using donations for personal trips disguised as conferences. It was sloppy, enough to raise eyebrows if audited. I didn't want to destroy her life. She was my sister. But that public attack, it crossed a line. I started planning carefully. First, I graduated quietly a month later. Online ceremony, no fanfare. Landed a job at a tech firm in Ann Arbor, solid 6 figures, working on AI systems for automotive safety. Irony, the very industry father had given his health to. I kept it quiet. Victoria's medical school orientation was in August, a big welcome event at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. Fancy dinner, guest speakers, families invited. Mother begged me to come, for closure. I agreed, but with my own agenda. The drive to Baltimore was long, giving me time to reflect. I thought about our childhood, sharing a room in that cramped house on the east side, Victoria sneaking into my bed during thunderstorms, me helping her with math homework while she dreamed of being a doctor. What happened to us? Jealousy, maybe? She saw my potential and hated that I didn't chase it the way she did, traditional success, accolades. To her, my slower path was failure, a reflection on the family. But I'd learned resilience differently, quiet grit, not spotlight. At the orientation, the ballroom was packed, white tablecloths, string quartet playing softly, the smell of crab cakes and champagne in the air. Victoria spotted us, hugged Mother tightly, gave me a curt nod. "You came," she said flatly. "Wouldn't miss it," I replied, smiling. The evening progressed, deans speaking about the rigor of med school, alumni sharing stories. Then, the surprise guest speaker, announced as a successful alumnus from similar backgrounds, overcoming odds. Victoria had bragged about arranging it through her connections. When they called my name, Preston Whitaker, software engineer at Vanguard Tech, recent graduate with honors, the audience applauded politely. Victoria's face drained of color. She hadn't known. Mother had submitted my name secretly, with my bio. I took the stage, mic in hand, heart pounding but steady. The spotlight was warm, the audience attentive, mostly affluent parents, aspiring doctors, a mix of races but heavy on privilege. "Thank you," I began, voice clear. "It's an honor to be here, especially to celebrate my sister Victoria. She's worked incredibly hard." Polite applause. Victoria forced a smile, but her eyes were wary. I continued, talking about family, perseverance. Then I paused, just like she had. But success isn't always linear. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's supporting others while building your own path. I shared my story briefly. Community college, caring for father, late nights coding. I graduated this year, top of my online cohort, landed a dream job, but more importantly, I learned that tearing others down doesn't lift you up. The room shifted, murmurs. I pulled out my phone, projected slides I'd prepared, carefully. Victoria inspired me with her speech about overcoming family obstacles, but let's talk real overcoming. I showed photos, our old house, father in the hospital, me at the warehouse job. Then the charity drive, receipts, emails, anonymized, showing discrepancies. This fundraiser Victoria led raised $50,000 for Detroit kids, admirable, but $8,000 went to expenses, hotels, flights not fully accounted for. I helped start it initially, before she pushed me out. Worse, I discovered, through a mutual friend who emailed me screenshots that she'd misused funds. Not outright stealing, but padding expenses, using donations for personal trips disguised as conferences. It was sloppy, enough to raise eyebrows if audited.
Gasps. Victoria stood up. "This is lies. He's jealous." Security hovered, but a dean held them back, intrigued. I kept calm. "I'm not here to destroy. I'm here for truth. Victoria, you called me a loser publicly, hurt our family. But look, I showed my offer letter, salary redacted but impressive. This is what quiet work looks like. And this, a final slide, an email from the charity board thanking me for anonymous donations I'd made to cover shortfalls, ensuring kids got scholarships." The room erupted in chatter, phones out again, but this time recording me. Victoria's face crumpled, tears, real ones. "Preston, why?" "Because you made it personal," I said softly, off mic now. "You weaponized our story, but we're family. Fix this. Be better." I stepped down to thunderous applause. Mother hugged me fierce. Reporters from campus papers approached. Victoria left early, humiliated but not ruined. The discrepancies were explainable as mistakes. She'd repay. But her perfect image cracked. In the months after, things changed. Victoria apologized tearfully over family dinner back in Detroit. Real talk about her insecurities, fear of failure making her lash out. We started rebuilding, slowly. She audited the charity properly, gave me credit publicly. Me? I thrived. Promotion at work, bought mother a new house in the suburbs, and when people ask about that speech, I smile. Revenge isn't destruction, it's revelation, showing the world and her that the loser was never the failure. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's the storm building.